I'm Susie Tran, and today I'm going to repeat the topic again. This is about the Flutter CICD tips that I learned in a way, try to reduce the money I have to pay to Google, to GitHub Action, and also to Codemagic while using their product. So let me start now. So introduction about me. On that text, you know it, I'm GDE, I'm Women Tech Makers, and I'm Senior Flutter Developers. That's all for me. Can you hear me? Do you need me to bring this? Okay. Okay. Hello. Yep, louder now. So let me go straight into the CICD. The question right now is, what is CICD? Everybody knows what is CICD, right? It is the infinite loop that you start with planning, code, build, release, deploy, everything, and then you go back to the start. But the CICD is the process that will help you to improve your software quality, your project quality. So with CICD, you will have CICD tools to help you to improve on those projects. With Flutter, these are the tools available for CICD in Flutter. But today, I'm going to talk about only Codemagic and GitHub Action. And why is that? Because I use them. And because they give me in total 800 build minutes per month. That is why. Okay, so question over here. Who want to save money? Yay. The others do not want to save money. The problem that I face is when I rewrite my app, my wallet. And this app, at that time, we had only 2 developers, me and another guy. And 2 of us, we work at most 20 hours per week. And sometimes we skip work. And the cost per month is still $100 for GitHub Action, $45 for Codemagic, $4 for GitHub Private Repo. That is the monthly pay that we have to pay. And with only 2 of us, less than 20 hours per month. That is too high for us. So we start looking into the problem and try to find out how to reduce the money that we have to pay. So the first step we did is to analyze the pricing plan. With GitHub Action, because we keep our source code private, so we have to pay for that to keep the source code private, and we pay the team. Each of us pay $4 on each of us, so that is not something that we can negotiate. Next, with the team, we pay $4. We have allowance that the GitHub will give us. GitHub will give us for free 3,000 build minute per month. That 3,000 build minute, however, is not actually 3,000 build minute because GitHub comes with multiplier OS. So it means that the 3,000 build minutes is only if you run everything on Linux. But you know Flutter, with mobile, Android, and iOS. Android, we can run everything on Linux. But when I try to build on iOS, of course, I will have to use Mac OS. And as you see over here, Mac OS 10 times, which means that from 3,000 build minutes, suddenly I dropped down to only 300 build minutes per month on GitHub Action. Now, looking at Codemagic. Codemagic will give us Codemagic will give us 500 build minutes per month. So this build minutes is on macOS M1 and Intel VM. So what I'm targeting in Codemagic is the macOS version. And this is very suitable for us. And with the fixed price, if anyone is rich enough to pay $3,990 per year, we are not that rich. So when I look in detail of the Codemagic pay-as-you-go system, the 500 minutes is only on the Mac OS M1 machine. And with other OS, including Linux OS, is cost. So over here, we can see that the Linux OS is $0.045 per minute. And this is why I use GitHub Action for most of my PR build and use Codemagic for PR merge. Okay, now Now we come back, and because we know all the information, so now we come back and try to analyze what caused the high cost. The number one is that the build time. Because this is where I took this picture. At that time, we always use macOS on GitHub Action. With macOS on GitHub Action, the build time per commit on the PR is 37 minutes highest, or over 20 minutes lowest. There's 10 minutes over here. So with that, it's really cost how much over the 3,000 build minute is around 370 minutes or 100 minutes. And it will finish all the build minutes very fast. And that is per commit, not per PR. So number one, that we try to fix it. Actually, we go the easy way first. We try to avoid duplicate, to try to avoid overspending. GitHub Action, they have a setting to allow us to set the spending limit. This one is from GitHub itself, so you can just go to GitHub account, setting, billing and plan, and set your limit over there. At first, we tried setting to $150. So that 1 month, we finished $98. And then we changed to setting $100. By the 3rd week of the month, we cannot run any build anymore. So with this, even though it's effective, but then sometimes it may not serve the purpose. So we come to the actual fix for how we can reduce the money. Number one is that we will set up the concurrency. This concurrency is to avoid multiple pipelines to be run at the same time. Because if you run multiple pipelines, only one of them is valid. So what's the point to run multiple pipelines? So in GitHub Action, you can set up concurrency just by adding the concurrency check inside the job itself. So you can see over here, the concurrency will be defined by the group name. And this group name is how I set it up to be unique for both Android and iOS version. So that whenever there is a build within this group, all the other build will be canceled. So one pipeline will have only one run at one time. Okay, with Codemagic, I'm still using the web editor. So it's very easy, just one click on the cancel outdated webhook build. Second fix is to avoid unnecessary triggers. This one, because we run on the app to build targeting only Android and iOS, but we have other source code in it as well. Some of the most common that we have is the owner of MD file, and then README, and some other platform that we target for the future, but right now we are not using yet. So because of that, at first we try to use path or path ignore, to use path filter to filter out when there are changes in those paths, we will build, or when there are changes in those paths, we will not build. So with path ignore, as you see, I have GitHub, I have cloud function in the source code. That is why when cloud function is there, that when the changes are in the cloud function, let's not build anything. Or in Linux, macOS, script, whatever, if it's not Android, not iOS, please ignore it. Similarly with the path, if you set the path, it will build only when the changes are in those paths. If you set path ignore, it will ignore this job when the changes are in those paths. But there's an issue. Since last year, December, the path ignore does not work anymore. And until now, until today, this issue is still open. So I've stopped using path ignore since July until now. And I use another method for that. I'll show you later. Similar to path and path ignore, there's branch and branch ignore. It's targeting the branch name, and it also can target the branch name that is relative or symmetric. So you can just enter the branch name with asterisk to represent, to wildcat all, and then it can actually match it and whether it's target the build on that branch or ignore the build on that branch. Now, there is a warning on the filter. Is that path filtering, branch filtering, or commit message filtering? If you use filtering on any of those, and in your branch rule, you need them in order to pass the PR, then your PR will never be passed. Why is that? Because when the path filtering or branch filtering happen, it will block the job, and the job state will become pending instead of completed. And because of that, it will actually block your PR if you use this, and set up is to be compulsory for your PR validation. With Codemagic, we also have something similar. We have branch filter or tag filter. They don't have path filter. So with branch filter, it's similar. You can just add the branch name with the wildcard, and then you can choose it whether it's a source or the target. And with tag, it's the same way. Now, this is when things become more, what should I say, tricky. We know that on GitHub Action, the Linux is cheaper than Mac OS, 10 times cheaper. So we choose to run on the jack on the cheaper OS and use the expensive OS for the expensive reason, which is to only build, to verify the build on the iOS build. So with that, I split the GitHub Action into two jobs. The first job will run on the Linux virtual machine. And with this Linux virtual machine, I run everything that is related to the product quality verification. So I run checkout, of course, I need that. And then I run setup Java. That is because I plan to use Linux to build and verify the Android version. Install Flutter, of course I need it. Then format code. This one is code quality, and even though it will take only 5-6 seconds, but no, right now it takes more than 1 minute because the code base is larger. Then on these dependencies, with all these dependencies, actually it's needed whether I run on Linux or Mac OS. And then analyze the code. Everybody knows you should analyze the code and keep the code clean and neat. Then run test. On the test, for the first version that we run on this in April, the test run only 5 minutes. Right now the test run is 15 minutes. Imagine 15 minutes on Mac OS, that will be 150 minutes. And code coverage, I use this one to ensure the code coverage for our product, for our project, and it does not take much time, but because I don't want to run it on Mac OS, let's put it here. And finally, build the APK. Now, as I say, Mac OS is expensive, so I only use the Mac OS to build the iOS app. With that, you can see over here is that the install dependencies is still there, and the install dependencies right now with the code base that is growing, it takes longer time as well. So we try to reduce the build time even further. Number one is that we will try to push on the generated file into our GitHub. So the easiest one is to push on the localization file. If you use localization using ARB file, you know that on this file will be generated. And because we have only 4 languages, that's not much change. So we push on that changes for localization into GitHub. And in the end, we can remove 1 line in this dependency. Now next, the line that costs the most time is actually the build runner. And the reason that we need to use build runner is because we use Hive adapter in our project, and also use it to generate Mockito and also Flutter Gen. So because of that, Hive adapter, we have in total 4 files for Hive adapter, so it's easy to commit. Flutter Gen is just one file generated, so not much, but Mockito is a big deal. In July, we already have over 300 tests. In July, we already have over 300 test cases, and with 33 mock files. Right now, the number already increased. And with that, every time that we push a commit into the mock file, it will be 33. No, right now it's 49 files. 49 files change for every time that we want to push. And in the end, we agree to use a cheat. The cheat is that we define all the Mockito generated in one file. So there will be only one mock file generated. And even if there's a merge conflict, it's easier to resolve. But then we move a step further. During one of the talk, I talked about this topic, and then I received a feedback that we can actually use Mocktail. Mocktail is similar to Mockito, and it does not use build runner. So we move to use Mocktail. And because we already used Mockito in one file, we did the same technique, did all the Mocktail in one file. And right now it looks like this. It's not that terrible. I promise it's not. Now, remember when I told you that if you use if you use path filtering or branch filtering, it will stop your PR. It will stop your PR if your workflow is needed for the PR to pass, because it will set the state into pending. But you can use if condition in GitHub Action. So the if condition will decide whether your step or your job need to run or not. Over here, I use it on the step. And to do that, I just set one parameters into the GitHub output. Over here, the meaning of this command, meaning that if there's any changes from this branch compared to the main branch name is dev, then can run will not be empty. And when can run is not empty, then I will run this step. But if can run is empty, it means that the condition if is false, it will skip this step. And even if that if is false, it skip this step, it still do not set your pipeline state into pending. So your step actually is still complete, and your pipeline is still complete. Here is how the if condition look like. It's quite simple, and actually it worked. So, ta-da! The last payment is in 15th of April. That is $44.31. And the most recent payment is on 15th of September. That is because I started the new project with all the settings for GitHub Actions again. But then all the money that extra is only $3.94. $3.93, yeah. That's quite good. But with Codemagic, actually, if you notice, all the changes that I post over here, they are mostly on GitHub Actions. So Codemagic does not have that much, because Codemagic themselves, they already have a very good build script that the build time is very low already. So this is still the same for us. On the July, I still paid $27 over. August and September, I did not pay much, mainly because in September, even though I start the new project, but I did not push anything to merge. That is why it's not in here. Okay, there's a next step is to reduce the iOS build time further. This one is from the official website guide from the Firebase file store, and we can use the same theory to build other library as well. This is to use the pre-built library in the iOS app build. To do that, you can just go to your pod file and then link your pod into the pre-built library if you know what library it is. If you can find the correct version, put the correct version in. The nightmare of this is the version conflict. And until now, we've used version 8 point something. It's not 8.15. But then we are always so scared to update the file store and also the remote config version and any file store Firebase version, because we do not know what's the next version that is suitable for that. And that's it. I hope I help you to save some money from GitHub Action and Codemagic. Do you have any question? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, great talk. I just had a quick question, like why are you using both? Is it to compare the prices, or do you have a dependency on Codemagic? Yeah.
Actually, it's because I was greedy. I wanted both the best of both sides. I want the 500 build minutes from Codemagic and 300 build minutes from GitHub Action.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Curious as to why you're using Codemagic, why you picked that one over the others. I can understand GitHub Actions because you're using GitHub, but did you look at the other alternatives? Because we're not using either.
Yeah, actually I did. Apart from GitHub Action, I look at Circle CI and also Fastlane. But the problem is that at that time, GitHub Action really pamper us by giving us the workflow editor, which is so easy. Later on, they don't pamper us so much more anymore. They give us the option for the YAML file. People love YAML file, but right now I'm still very lazy. That's why I haven't moved to YAML file yet. And that is also why I think that GitHub Action Codemagic is easier to use because it provides the workflow editor.
Yeah. We use Bitrise, and that has a workflow editor which is in YAML format.
Do you have to pay for that?
Yes. Yes, it's probably quite expensive. But we use it for Mac builds, just the publishing release store, publishing the releases.
Thank you. Any other questions? I guess not. Thank you so much, Susie.